Hi guys, so it's been ages since I've done a video. Some of you may know that I moved to Australia, I'm now back, as you may be able to tell from the background, and I've been manic busy, working loads, and I've been really wanting to put some videos together for you guys, but I've not had the time. I was going to do one a little while back, but then I've been really ill, so my skin isn't amazing. I may look like I've got a bit of a black eye going on at the moment. I was playing with a dog earlier and got head-butted, so you know, that was fun. But I'm going to hopefully do a series of littler videos for you guys, and then you guys will be able to see more actually what I do without me, you know, doing it really fast, and I'll also be able to tell you what the products are that I'm using rather than just flashing them up at the screen. So before I've started today, I've shaved, cleansed, toned, exfoliated, all that jazz, and I've used a moisturiser. The moisturiser I've used before putting foundation on is Simple Clean and Clear Oil Balancing Moisturiser. This one goes on quite wet but dries really quickly, and it doesn't make the foundation really slippy. So a lot of other ones that sit on the skin for too long can make the foundation move around too much. So good one to use. Obviously I've let that soak in properly before I've done anything. Little tip as well, try not to get too much or any moisturiser actually in your eyebrows, because when you then put wax on them, if you're waxing to conceal your eyebrows, it makes it a lot harder for the wax to stick and actually hold to your skin. It tends to actually not want to do anything at all. So the eyebrow plastic that I'm using is Grimace Eyebrow Plastic. I'm probably pronouncing that wrong. Comes in this little box and then in a plastic container with the 4 panels. This I've had since I started doing drag, which is way long ago, so it does last really well. And I used to have to do other people's makeup as well, so it has lasted really well. So you can see there's not all that much left in there. It does need to be heated up, so you need your trusty lighter. Obviously it's a wax. Once it's hot, it's going to hurt if you put it straight onto your skin. Don't remove half your eyebrow like one of my friends did. So gently heat just a small section so it just starts to run, and then take it on your finger and then push it into your eyebrow, going with the hair. Now, if you're doing this on someone else, this can really hurt, but you do need to push quite hard to make sure that you get all of the hairs. And you will get excess, but you can just pop that back in, and when you melt it next you can pop it back in. The other thing to obviously do is to pluck your eyebrows beforehand, because with this style of makeup it does show through any hairs, however little, once the makeup's on. So that's why I'm being really firm with pushing it in. Just got a baby wipe or a facial wipe, and if you just go round the area, because when the foundation goes on it can go quite orange where the wax is. Also this will pull out any loose hairs you've got, and you can actually see them in the wax, which, you know, is pleasant. So that's one eyebrow waxed. Then back with the lighter, heating up the wax. Taking it on your finger, whilst it's still warm, pressing it into the eyebrow. it's usually the hairs right at the beginning of the eyebrow that most people miss. I know it's the ones I tend to miss the most. This eyebrow wax is the best one I've found to use. Other ones, you find through the night when you wear your makeup that it will start to flake and pull away from the skin. So this one's quite nice because it stays quite sticky underneath the makeup. You can just kind of push back onto it and it will stick back to the skin quite nicely. Certainly long enough for a couple of hours while you're out. Sorry, I've got a mirror just behind my camera, so it's a bit easier to see in the mirror. And then to seal that, excuse me, put the lid back on my wax. I'm using Lichner Stage Makeup Theatrical Blending Powder, which is meant to be a translucent powder, but it does have a sort of fleshy tone to it. Again, I think this is the pot I've had since I started doing drag, and you can see it's just a loose powder. And then I'm taking just a makeup application, foundation powder puff type thing, sliding it onto my hand, dipping just the edge into the powder, and then I'm just rolling that very firmly across the wax. And this is where you'll start to see if you've got any hairs that you've missed. And on the other eye. And you'll be able to feel with the puff, it feels sticky when you first pat it on. And then by the time you've got nice pale eyebrows, it should be nice and dry. So just to take off any excess powder, I'm just going to take a big fluffy blusher brush, or foundation brush, I'm not entirely sure what that is, and just brush off any excess powder and any fallout that I've had from pressing that on. And now you should be able to see in your mirror. I'm just going to get really, really close now. If you've actually missed any hairs. I've got a nice big one there. It doesn't need to be perfect. I'm only going to be taking this straight back off again. So that should give you a nice flat, and you should be able to feel it. They do feel nice and smooth and flat. And once you've got your foundation over, obviously that will cover it depending what foundation you're using. I personally use Kryolan paint stick, TV paint stick, and I'm using this in a 3W. Okay, it is ever so slightly darker than my skin tone. I am incredibly pasty. This is stage makeup. It's really, really good if you're doing any shows or you're going to be anywhere there's bright lights. In my very first tutorial, the sped up video that you may have seen, I went in first with some white Snazaroo and just highlighted my cheeks, along my nose, around my forehead and on my chin. I don't generally do that, but that is if you were going to be doing stage stuff. Lights can tend to bleach the colour from your face, so a darker shade will help with that, and also the lightening underneath will give you more contouring on your face as well. So this comes in a twist stick. Just twist it up for how much you need to use. This is actually an old one, so I'm going to break into the new one, especially for you guys. Here's one I bought a while back. That's not new at all, I'm lying to you guys. So that was the new one. Oops. I will go with this one now anyway. So with this, because it's quite an oily foundation, you don't want to put too much of it on. In my first video I put hordes of it on and I didn't need that much. Once you've got it on, you'll use a sponge and move it around the face to get a nice even coverage. If you don't need a particularly heavy coverage, obviously use less. If you're like me, you've got quite a dark beard area, for guys out there trying to do this makeup, you obviously will need to use a little bit more. So pop this on in just dribs and drabs. As far as your eyebrows are concerned, where you've obviously done the work before, you don't want to ruin that. So go with the hairs the way that you've pushed them down with the wax. So just run it very gently across the top, and look at that, they've gone. Same on the other side. And then if you've got particularly longer hair, you can use an Alice band or fabric Alice band or anything else you've got that you can use to get your hair out of the way. That's all I'm going to pop on for now, and I'm just going to take a foundation application sponge, just a little cheap one that I got from sort of makeup shop, and just start to move your foundation around. The thing I like about this is it does give you a really good coverage. One thing I don't like is if you need to scratch at any point during the night, you'd end up with a big hole in it. I generally try and avoid getting any on my lips just because it makes it easier later, but if you do get any lips, it doesn't matter, you can just wipe it off with a facial wipe. I'm not going to go too far down my neck, but obviously if you were going out with this look, it's an attractive look, isn't it? You're going to want to bring it straight down to your neck, and I always tend to bring it straight onto my chest as well, but obviously I'm shaved, you can see there's a little bit of hair going on there. But it is something you need to get all the way down, because otherwise you do end up with a sort of a tide line going on. So again, gently across the eyebrow. I think I'm going to want a little bit more than that, so around the eyes especially it can be quite hard to get in, so if you roll this up a little bit more and just place it onto the eye, obviously with your eye closed, and just get a nice chunk on there. I tend to do this instead of having an eyeshadow base, just because I find it easier. If you guys want to use eyeshadow base, then obviously don't put your foundation there. A little bit more down here, because I'm not happy with my skin tone showing through that much. And just with the sponge, smudging it out again, blending it so that it's all nice and even. Don't be too worried if you haven't got complete coverage over your eyebrows. Mine are quite dark anyway. You can always use a concealer as well, or what I tend to do is when I draw my eyebrows on, I draw my eyebrows up above, and then I fill the space where my eyebrows actually are with colour. Because I've got quite hooded eyes, it just means that you see more of the detail, and it looks nicer. If anyone has any other suggestions for how to do makeup when your eyes are as hooded as mine, and it's not hooded in the fact that there's skin there, my brows are really, really low, and then my eyes are set quite far back in, so consequently if I do any crease work or anything in my actual crease, I just look like I've got a black eye afterwards. So if anyone's got any suggestions at all, then please, please, please do me either a video response below, or message me and give me some tips. I'd love to hear from you. You'll be able to see in your mirror when you're doing this whether or not you've got any streaks going on. Just make sure you've got rid of all of those before you then powder to set the makeup, because if you powder before you're going to end up with streaks and that's not going to be pretty. Also, don't forget your ears. If you're wearing short wigs, and like me, when you get hot, your ears go red. It looks a bit dodgy, and you also, like I was saying before, with the tide line around the ears. So yeah, once you finish blending, you can blend onto the ears as well. You should have enough on the sponge to be able to do that. So if not, I'm going to wipe the excess off my thumb before I end up spreading that everywhere, and my fingers, and take your powder puff again, and just take some more powder onto your puff, and then just pat it on. Doesn't matter if there's too much on there at the moment. That will help when you're doing your eyes later. This stuff also makes you go a different shade. I don't know if you can see, my lighting is atrocious. Once it's into the foundation, it gives it a darker orange. You end up looking like you've been tangoed if you've got a skin tone like mine. Also, if you are doing makeup onto your chest, it's really a good idea to have something with a zip on. One, you can preserve your modesty a little bit, and two, it makes it much easier to sort of get the makeup on and get your clothes on and off without getting makeup all over them or ruining all the work you've done. Black eye? What black eye? By doing this, you will end up with very pale eyelashes, so don't be too freaked out, and make sure you get it into the creases around your nose. And around your eyes as well. Okay, and then I personally don't like this much powder going on, especially when I'm about to do my eyes, so back in with the big fluffy brush, blending brush, blusher brush, it's a brush, and just sweep as much off as you want, or don't, you can leave it to yourselves. So okay, so oh, check out that red bit, missed that. We'll turn that into a beauty spot later. My skin's usually a lot better than this. I'm not used to having to work with big blech on my face. So anyway, that's your base on. So that's it for this video. Go to my next one and we'll show you what's going on with the eyes. I'm not sure what colours I'll do yet. But yeah, click the next video to find out. Thanks very much.